Recently, Mazetta hit us up and they're like, listen, Brothers Green, we love your 5 ways to get creative with videos. Can you take our pasta sauce and get weird and funky with it? So we figured, why not?
Why not get funky with it? They actually have so many different types of sauces, which is nice. You can get different marinaras, you got spreads too, olives, peppers.
Pesto, yeah, and then you can buy them basically at all the retail stores, like major retailers across the US.
So let's take that tomato sauce and get funky with it. So I'm calling this guy the eggplant mozzarella melt. But whenever you're just craving something like cheesy and delicious and you don't want to go through all the steps it would take to make an eggplant parm, make this thing very simple. So here we've got all of our beautiful ingredients. Take your eggplant and just slice it up nice and thin, just like that. And now you're ready to build. That's basically all your prep work.
And you eat it.
Take a mug, oil it up with a little bit of olive oil, get that rubbed in on the bottom, on the sides, and then take 3 eggplants and just kind of stack them together like you're creating one nice layer. Put that on the bottom. Take a little bit of tomato sauce, spread that on top of the eggplant. That's gonna seep right in there. Add some fresh basil, and then sprinkle on some mozzarella cheese. Now you're just gonna repeat and stack up until you're at the top. We take another layer of eggplant, some tomato sauce, some fresh basil, and a little bit of cheese. You gotta end up on that top layer with some cheese. Because that stuff is gonna brown. Get your oven on pretty hot, about 400 to 425 degrees. Throw in your mug for maybe 20 minutes, I would say.
How about the cheese? If the cheese looks nice and brown.
You can see right here, we pulled it out at 20 minutes. It was bubbly and it was brown. But at this point, I've tried to take it out. It's gonna be a little messy. It's gonna just fall apart if you take it out. So let it sit. It's like a fine steak.
You could eat it right in there.
Let the juices sit and absorb back in, or they're just gonna seep right out.
Or eat it out of the mug.
Or eat it right out of the mug. Exactly.
It's in a mug, for Christ's sake.
And then just bam, right out on the board. Look at the layers of that thing. So cheesy and delicious. Put it on a plate, hit it with a little bit of olive oil, maybe some extra basil, and just slice into that. Ooh, the layers. Oh, it's so delicious and so simple.
This one I've been testing for a while, and it's been blowing my mind up. Every time it gets better and better. The pepperoni Parmesan pizza biscuits. I've never seen it before. You're seeing it for the first time here. Super simple to make. Takes like 20 minutes from start to finish, and you got delicious homemade biscuits. In a big bowl, take some shredded mozzarella cheese, toss that in there. I took some pepperoni, cut that up, throw that in. Parmesan goes in, dried oregano, fresh or dried parsley, and then tomato sauce. And you just kind of mix that up. And right now you could probably just bake this on its own.
What
I'm sure
is that
it would taste
mixture?
delicious.
It's so weird, but it's so delicious.
So delicious. You mix it up, mix it up. You could make your own, but I got this biscuit mix, and it's basically just like a prepackaged mix that you add the ingredients to. Pour it all in and then mix it together. You can add a little more tomato sauce. You don't even need to add water to this.
It's amazing that the tomato sauce is acting like the liquid.
All the liquid.
Just extra flavor in there. No need for water.
Yeah, exactly. And you just kind of mix it around until you don't want it to be like super wet, stick in your hands, but you also don't want it to be too firm. You kind of get like a nice mixture.
Find that middle ground and you go for it.
Go for it. And you want to get your oven on about 350 degrees. And then you just take those biscuits. You can get about 6 or 7 per batch, and depending on the size, throw them in the oven. Bake them for like 12 to 15 minutes until they're just nice and like starting to get a little bit firm.
When those things came out of the oven, first of all, the fluffiness, and just rip that apart. Look at that. You get like cheesy strings, and it tastes like you're eating a Lunchables. If any of you guys know about the Lunchables.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic taste to it. Tikka masala is one of my favorite dishes. It's Indian inspired. It actually wasn't invented in India, which I keep getting told every time I try to make it. But when in America, like tikka masala is like the quintessential Indian dish, and it's so delicious and easy. But usually it takes a lot of time because you have to marinate the chicken in this yogurt mixture and then simmer it. So we wanted to figure out a way to make it in like 15 minutes. And that's exactly what we did. You basically take some chicken thigh, because it's already delicious, barely with anything. Add a little oil, salt, pepper, and some garam masala. Just kind of mix that around and then just fry the chicken up in a pan.
You don't have to cook it through. You're just frying and getting it crispy on the sides. And then once it's crispy, you take those chicken pieces off and just slice them up. Slice them up on the board. You see all that chicken fat that's in there? Pour in the tomato sauce right on that, because that chicken fat is extra flavor. Don't forget about that.
Lose it.
And now we're gonna start flavoring this tomato sauce. We added endless spice because we're going Indian with it.
Indian, you feel the spice when you eat it.
Oh,
yeah, you're
God.
like, I'm feeling this spice right now.
I'm feeling this spice. So we hit it with a little bit of garam masala. We hit it with some paprika, a little bit of turmeric, and then cayenne for that extra kicky kick. And then stirred that up, and of course we need the yogurt. You can also add cream or whatever sort of dairy product, but I like the yogurt. It gives it a nice consistency.
We also squeezed in a little bit of lemon juice.
That's bringing it to
life.
life.
It was getting pretty spicy. We needed to sort of balance that out. And then we kind of stirred it around. Then you throw the chicken in, and you just let it simmer for a while until the chicken cooks all the way through. All those flavors come together. At first, it's going to seem intense, but you let it simmer for like 10 minutes, and
gotta
before you
let
know
the
it,
spices and the flavors meld. And look at the consistency.
Oh,
that looks like tikka masala.
After we let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes, you can go even longer if you want. Throw in some chopped up cilantro and just mix that in when it's fresh. Turn off the heat, and then you just pour it over some rice. You take some naan and you add some more fresh cilantro.
Look at the consistency of that tikka. So delicious. The spices were awesome, and for a 15-minute tikka masala, you can't really beat that. So this is definitely the more underestimated recipe out of all of these, because you wouldn't think when you have a can of tomato sauce, we're going to turn it into hot sauce. But the truth is, hot sauce, so much of the base of it is tomatoes. So we are spicing it up. I chopped up some spicy chilies, a little bit of garlic, and then some mango. We love throwing fruit into our hot sauces.
Sweetness,
it adds a little
complexness of
complexedness. I like that, and a little more body. And then I sauteed that up in some oil. And right there, I actually added a little bit of sugar. That's just gonna help with the caramelization, and I like a little bit more sweetness in my hot sauce. I don't know, that's just me. Now we're gonna go in with our tomato sauce, add a nice base of that, then hit it with vinegar. Probably the most important ingredient when it comes to hot sauce. It really gives it that saucy, it's everything, like Josh said. Just trust us.
The heat and the vinegar, it's everything.
I added a little bit of water because we're gonna end up cooking it down for about 10 minutes. So just let that do its thing. It's gonna bubble away. You're gonna take that off the heat, throw it in some sort of food processor. You could even use an immersion blender right in there. Blend that up, and look at that. The consistency totally changed. The color changed.
Spicy.
It's got a nice spice, and I'm telling you, you've got a delicious hot sauce. It will definitely impress your friends as like some sort of home. Oh my God, you made your own hot sauce out of tomato sauce.
Now this last one is extra weird. I just wanted to do one thing that it blends like molecular gastronomy and just pantry items, I guess. But it actually turned out really surprisingly amazing. All I did was I took the mazzetta tomato sauce, I put that in a pan and got the heat going, and then I added agar-agar, which agar-agar is basically the seaweed. It's flavorless, and if you put it in stuff and bring it to a boil, it turns things into gel, like a jelly, but like much more firm and delicious.
It's like jello.
And I used a bunch because I really wanted this to hold together. And you're probably like, what are you talking about? You'll see where I'm going with this. So you bring it to a boil, you let it simmer for a few minutes, and then pour it into something. I poured it into this little like deep dish with lined with some of that plastic wrap stuff. Put it in the fridge. I let it set. While that's happening, I cooked some noodles with some water. As they were cooking, I added a little bit of cream. I added some salt in there. And then this is where I wanted to do a little role reversal. So normally you got the pasta sauce on top of the pasta. I wanted to make sauce out of the pasta and pasta out of the sauce, right?
Flipping the script on this one.
Flipping the script. So then I blended that all up. I added a little bit of Parmesan, some more salt, and cracked black pepper. And that's basically like an Alfredo noodle sauce, right? Then I take out that cooled mixture of the tomato sauce. I kind of cut off the sides to clean it up. And then I cut thin strips, which I then cut again into these long noodles. And they actually hold up well.
Yeah.
It's a noodle made pretty much just out of tomato sauce. Then I took a little bit of water, just like simmering water, and I just gently poached those noodles in there because they actually won't melt unless the temperature gets too high. So I poached them to get them hot.
Soften them up so they feel more like noodles when you're
A little
eating
more
them.
like a noodle. Put them on a plate. I added some of that delicious Alfredo noodle ski. Then I hit it with a little olive oil and some parsley. Take a deep bite in and
How deep?
We're going deep on Brothers Green. And it was surprisingly delicious. I'm not gonna say it wasn't weird. It was definitely weird, but it's really fun. Sometimes you just gotta have fun with food.
Hope you guys enjoyed 5 wacky things to do with tomato sauce. Click on the link below.
When the Mazzetta family moved to San Francisco from Italy, they brought with them the passion for Mediterranean food. For more than 80 years, the Mazzetta family has celebrated the joy of sharing simple, rich, and real food with the American table.
Dude, you alright?
Huh? If you click in the description box below, Mazzetta's doing this giveaway, and the grand prize, there's one grand prize winner, perfect pasta night. There's a cooking kit that includes 6 Mazzetta Napa Valley homemade pasta sauces, dried pasta, an apron, grocery tote, chef's hat, cheese grater, recipe cards, and a $500 grocery gift card.
They've got some runner-up prizes as well. They got Napa Valley homemade pasta sauces and recipe cards. Click the link, my friends.